Coach, just double checking in here on health. We saw increased minutes back for guys like Ian and Zoran, and those. How do you feel that those guys have grown into training? We also saw Jaden Reed out there. How close to being back in the mix is he?
Yeah, I mean, the goal was obviously also last weekend to give minutes again to Justin Reynolds, Ian James. Zoe came in. Unfortunately, Zoe got re-hurt in the game, so he was not in training this week, so he is not going to be available with us. But yeah, Jaden Reed has had a very good training week. He's available. We'll see for how long tomorrow, and so are all the other guys.
With a guy like Zoran, I know he's kind of had that re-aggravation a couple of times now. Is there, I know it's kind of out of your control in a way, but is there some frustration, I think, with not being able to kind of really get him integrated at this point, considering what he brings as a leader emotionally? Yeah,
I mean, definitely. I would have loved to have Zoe with me from day one. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. He came back from the January camp with a little something. Then he had to wait to start training with the team, and then when he came back, he got hurt. So unfortunately, that's not what we want. But yeah, I can't really control that. I hope that he comes back as soon as possible and gets as fit as he can be, because he will help our team. But in the meantime, I'm putting all my energy into the guys who are here, who are available.
And then we'll get a chance to talk with Capita and Diego here. Just for both players, what have you seen as they've kind of integrated themselves into the team, and what are you hoping they bring on the field in the near future?
Yeah, I think Diego has been a little bit longer here. Has also played 45 minutes last weekend, and I think has done fairly well. I think we've seen what he can bring to us, but again, we also need to give them time to acclimate to the league, to new teammates, to a different way of playing maybe than what he was used to before. But definitely an exciting profile, which again we need to give him time. And Capita's really just been here this week, training every day. He looks good. Obviously, he wants to play, which is a good sign when the player wants to play, right? But we have to see that we control his minutes.
So San Jose, you guys have already seen them once this year in a pretty early portion of the season. And that first 35, 40 minutes, it felt like you guys really were controlling that game, the first game of the year. How much did you learn from that performance to apply to this, or is this a different moment in the season?
Yeah, it's a different moment. Look, it's a different moment. It's been, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. Every team has played games. So it's a different moment, but obviously we know the team, they know us. We have obviously also, again, analyzed them. They're in a very good moment. They're in a lot of confidence. They're a very good team. They haven't really changed the way they played since that first game, so we don't expect anything else, but again, cannot really control that. But it is a different game than it was 2 months ago.
Obviously, with Capita, his speed and athleticism is what pops off or is what's going to pop off to a lot of people once they start watching him play. It seems like him and Calvin and Steven are kind of similar in that way. Just how are you evaluating those, putting all those guys out at once, or trying to just figure out that rotation?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is, and you have seen it in preseason, that we have 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3 with two wingers. Now, depending when they're all going to be fit and available, we have more options, or I have more options, which is also a good sign to have as a coach. So, usually play with two wingers. Who those will be, we will see. Again, game plan, on fitness, everything. It's possible that there will be games depending on what we plan, that 3 of them are on the field, but right now that is not the case.
And then Diego, I see. Obviously the whole back line works on their passing. Just how are you seeing that part of his game, and just how are you seeing how that's going to integrate once he starts getting more minutes?
Yeah, Diego is with the ball a good player. Again, like I said, he has a very interesting profile. Physically, he's very tall. He's calm and good with the ball. Now again, he needs to get to the speed of the MLS. The MLS is a different league than what is played before, and obviously he needs to get used to what we want to do. But you can only get used to it through training and through games. So there is no preseason for him. So that's why we have to start putting him into those games, and also work with lots of meetings with him, with film, and showing him what we want.
Hey, Coach. Last game you talked about how there was a lot of mistakes in the first half, and there's been some spread out throughout the season. But how do you work on getting those eliminated from the game so that you guys can compete on a little more level basis, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically telling the players and giving them the responsibility and the freedom to they make decisions, right? Make the right decisions. Keep it simple. Don't force a pass if it's not on. I mean, play to an open teammate. It's basically that, right? And I think in Salt Lake in the first half, that was not good. That was a lot of wrong decisions. In the end of the day, it's decision making of every single player, and we're trying to tell them to keep it simple. That's it.
And for some teams, and it seems like when a defender makes a mistake, a strong, confident team just overcomes that and keeps moving on. But a team that's not confident, a little more fragile in their psyche, I guess, start to fall apart and make more mistakes. I guess, how do you talk to them about that sort of thing? Same thing?
Yeah, and look, I mean, I was in their shoes. I was a player, and I always told myself, if I'm not feeling well, if something doesn't go the way I want, I go back to the basics, right? What is the basic? The basic for me was a good first touch, a simple pass to a teammate, and in the defensive phase, the basic was winning my next duel, winning my next challenge. That gives me confidence again, right? And I think that's what I can tell the players. When something doesn't go the way you want it, go back to the basics. Keep it simple. I think that's really a very simple advice, but I think that's the best advice. For sure, not make it more complicated, right? Now, it's always different if you're an attacker or if you're a midfielder or a defender. And then I was a defender or a midfielder, and that's why I can give this advice. If you're an attacker and in the attacking third, you're good in 1v1s, and then I think keep going. Keep going, keep trying, right? But it depends where on the field you do these things.
Rapha, understanding that ultimately wins, 3 points on the weekends is the ultimate measure of success. What are some of the things? Of course, we know that this team is very much under construction. It's early in the season. It's being rejuvenated. It's being reassembled. What are some of the metrics of success that for you show you whether the team is improving, whether the team is making progress, how it's gelling and coming together, independent of what the score is on the weekend?
Yeah, it's the performance. It's the performance from what I want to see is, can we compete with the other teams? Are we in the game? And how are we doing that? I mean, then, of course, and I agree with you, we all want to win. We all want to win. We all sleep better when we have wins than when we don't have wins. That's the reality of this game. But as a coach, it's the performance, right? And for example, the first half performance in Salt Lake wasn't good enough because so many mistakes and we gave up so many chances through these mistakes. So yeah, I think we have to analyze the games always with the performance. And I believe that in a lot of games we actually had good performance, good moments with then mistakes. But again, I can come back to the Colorado game. The Colorado game wasn't a perfect game, and I'm not talking the last 20 minutes were no good, but the first 70 minutes we were in this game. We were pushing. We were there. We had momentum. We didn't create like a ton of 100% chances, but we were there. So that's something which shows us, hey, when we do the little things right, when we don't give up too many easy mistakes, we can compete. And that is how I try to analyze a performance next to the results. But the result is always ultimately what makes you happy or unhappy.
Hola, mister. Bueno, pregunta relacionada con las dos preguntas que ya respondió anteriormente. Desde el punto de vista mental, usted como coach, cuando ve que está trabajando en un proyecto y quizás no llegan los resultados, ¿cómo afrontar eso con los jugadores para que no dejen de creer en la idea, para que se mantenga digamos que la motivación alta y poder conseguir al final los resultados, que es lo que esperan, ¿no?
Pienso que es importante para mí de analizar los partidos y mirar por qué perdemos como hemos perdido en Salt Lake, y no creo que es por la idea. En Salt Lake era simple, ¿eh? Cuando haces tantos errores es muy difícil de ganar un partido, eso es la verdad. Y después a ser honesto con los jugadores, en hablar con ellos, en decirlos. Con tantos errores es difícil, pero podemos hacer mucho mejor. Hemos todos en últimos partidos hecho mucho mejor que eso y eso es lo que queremos hacer. Pienso que hablar mucho con los jugadores y darle que dar las cosas simples. Un pase simple es más importante que un pase de genio, que en algunas zonas no necesitas, y con eso tomar confianza de nuevo. Pienso, el fútbol es mucho en la cabeza, es mucho mental. Y cómo puedes ganar confianza es con la cosa simple. Ganar tu duelo, hacer un buen pase y así ganar confianza de nuevo.
Bueno, mañana reciben a San José nuevamente, ya jugaron con ellos. ¿Cuál ha sido el foco esta semana preparando este partido? ¿Qué espera ver de su equipo y de San José, el rival?
Bueno, lo que queremos hacer mejor de que lo hemos hecho la semana pasada es de hacer menos errores. Eso es simple. Y después es competitivo, es ser físico contra ellos. Es un equipo físico que juega bien, que es en un buen momento y hay que aceptar esos momentos físicos y estar mejor con el balón.
Welcome to Kansas City. I know your career, you've been a lot of different places. Why, at this point in your career, did you feel like you wanted to come to Kansas City and play in MLS?
Ele está dizendo que é muito bem-vindo para Kansas City e que falou que você já jogou em muitos lugares diferentes e quer saber por que você escolheu Kansas City para jogar.
Thank you. Joguei em muitos lugares diferentes. Eu escolhi o Kansas City pelo projeto que estão criando, pela história que o clube tem. Já ganhou muitos campeonatos e tem um mister muito fantástico e um grupo muito espetacular. Por isso eu vim para cá.
He came to Kansas City. He thanked you for welcoming him, and he came to Kansas City because of the project that they are creating. He didn't specify, but there's a good history with the team and the group, and then he thinks that it's a good thing for him.
What about, MLS, do you know? How much of the league have you watched? And maybe as Sporting was trying to talk to you to convince you to come here, what was enticing about the project?
Ele está perguntando se você já assistiu o time várias vezes, o Sporting, e o que foi que vocês conversaram com você para tentar convencer de você vir para cá e que você gostou do Sporting para ver.
Sim, eu consegui ver 3 jogos, porque o meu último jogo foi no dia 6, na Polônia, depois parei de jogar e pude assistir porque lá os jogos são meia-noite, um pouquinho mais tarde, pude assistir 3 jogos do Kansas City e gostei da forma de jogar, gostei da personalidade da equipa, do treinador e pude ver que eu poderia acrescentar alguma coisa ao grupo e conversei muito com o treinador e é alguém que está me ajudando muito.
So he said that he watched 3 games. He stopped playing not long ago on the 6th, and he would stop at midnight, so he would have time to just watch a few. But he liked very much the way that the players play, and he liked the coach, their personality, and he thought maybe he could, bring something into the group, to the team.
And for you, Diego, of course, welcome as well. For you, your career's been kind of starting out in Brazil. You go to Hungary, obviously at a young age. What gives you the confidence to kind of try the game in places like Hungary and places like the United States, and ultimately why come to Kansas City?
Ele está te dizendo que está muito bem-vindo por ter vindo para Kansas City, e ele viu que você foi do Brasil e também você jogou em outros países, na Hungria, não é isso?
Sim.
E que ele está querendo saber por que te deu a confiança para vir jogar aqui e fazer parte desse time.
Obrigado pela pergunta. Eu acho que eu gostei mais, eu tive mais vontade de vir para cá por causa da liga, que vinha uma crescente muito grande, a MLS. E eu,
Ok, diz de novo. Da Liga?
Da Liga MLS. E quando eles tiveram interesse, eu achei que ia ser uma crescente muito grande na minha carreira.
Eles que te chamaram?
Sim, quando
Ok.
eles tiveram interesse.
So he thank you for welcoming him, and he played in several places, but he thought it was wonderful, the league MLS, and that they approached him, I guess, and that's what he thought it was a good adventure for him, a good new endeavor for him to join.
I'd love to ask this to both, but we'll start with Diego. What should fans expect from you? We can tell you're a tall center back. You use your body well, but what should fans expect from you?
O que é que os teus fãs podem esperar de você? Ele falou que você é alto e tal, e o que é que eles devem esperar?
Sim, pode esperar de mim muita entrega dentro de campo, muita vontade, que eu vim para cá para ganhar, e o pensamento é só esse.
Okay, they can expect that he will give himself, the whole himself, and then that they can believe that he is here to win.
And then kind of similar to Capita, I guess, we've seen that you're quick, you're fast, but what are some of your best qualities?
As melhores qualidades. Quais são as suas melhores qualidades como jogador?
Tenho várias. Eu tenho a velocidade, consigo no 1 contra 1 também, consigo atacar bem o espaço, consigo defender também, tem muitas qualidades.
He said he has many qualities, that he has velocity, speed, and he knows how to attack and to defend.
Obviously both of y'all, welcome. For Capita, just how have the teammates welcomed you since you've just gotten in?
Como que o time foi bem-vindo, fez você bem-vindo desde que você chegou aqui?
Sim, fui muito bem recebido pela equipa técnica, pelos jogadores, pela staff toda que trabalham em Kansas City. Fui muito bem recebido, eu e a minha esposa, e estamos muito felizes por cá vir.
So him and his wife were very well received by all the staff, the players, and everybody. So he's very happy to be here.
And Diego, for you, how have your teammates welcomed you in? I know in the back line and the way that Sporting wants to play, that there has to be a lot of connectivity there. So have you kind of understood that in your first few weeks here?
E também para você, como é que você foi bem-vindo por todos?
Também acho que todos aqui me receberam muito bem, até as tias da cozinha, o staff, os jogadores. Fiquei impressionado com o quanto eles me acolheram aqui.
He's very impressed with the way that he was welcomed. Even the staff, the kitchen staff, welcomed him well. And so he's very impressed with how he was welcomed.
¿Falamos en español?
Sí, tranquilo.
Las primeras impresiones después de tu llegada a Kansas City son ¿cuáles? De tus compañeros, de la ciudad, de la cultura, del ambiente.
Son muchas. Cuando has llegado acá, primero la pasada en el aeropuerto, muy grande, y después fue al hotel, muy buena ciudad. Y me deparé con una estructura muy fuera de común que yo había pasado antes. Mucha cosa que hay acá para jugadores o para cualquier persona, y es muy bueno. Es la primera vez que yo faço parte de una estructura muy tranquila y muy buena.
Would you like me to translate?
Sure.
Okay. He thinks the city is, wonderful, welcoming. He's the first time that he takes part in this structured. And then it makes him very at ease with everything.
Digo, para ti, en español también.
Sí, un poco.
Llegar a un equipo que está en construcción, no está completo todavía, un equipo que todavía no logra muchas victorias, pero pero viene progresando. Hay de pronto presión adicional de como jugador extranjero, traer valor, mejorar al equipo. ¿Qué tipo de presión te pones tú a ti mismo o qué tipo de presión sientes, si sientes algo?
Ok, você entendeu?
Sim, sim. Eu não acho que a pressão seja um forte, né? Porque, tipo, a gente tem que trabalhar, as vitórias não estão vindo, mas a gente tem que fazer acontecer. E é isso, a gente apenas trabalhar, ninguém estamos pressionados e é só trabalhar e seguir em frente que as vitórias vai vir, pode ter certeza.
Okay, so he said the question was that you're joining a team that is not complete. You know, there's not many victories yet, and then it's a team that's in construction. And what is the pressures that he puts in himself to give it? To give to the team. He said he's ready for, basically, in summary, he's ready for the fight.
Any additional questions for the players? For you, Capita. Diego kind of mentioned a little bit about the structure at this club. I'm just curious, was that an attractive thing to you, and seeing a facility like this and the way that the club operates, compared to maybe some of the previous places you played, and especially in Poland too? I know there was kind of a lot going on at that team as you were on your way out.
Ele está perguntando, porque como foi que você recebeu essa estrutura do clube? Por exemplo, porque você jogou na Polônia e lá aquele time não estava muito estruturado, não estava muito bom. Como é que você recebeu esse time daqui?
Aqui? Não percebi.
You're talking about the structure. How did he receive this team, this club?
Yeah, and the facilities
Toda a estrutura que eles têm aqui, se você gostou, comparando com o que você jogou na Polônia.
Sim, é muito diferente com a estrutura aqui que eu tive na Polônia, mas tivemos muita coisa, mas aqui é muito diferente, com o centro de treinamento, alimentação, a sala de recuperação também, que é muito importante. Tem uma estrutura muito grande em volta dos jogadores. Eu acho que é muita diferença aqui que eu tive na Polônia.
He thinks it's a lot different than Poland. This structure is much, solid. He said he's very impressed with the center, the training, the food, and the recuperation room that allows them to, get support. And that's new for him as compared to what he knew before.
Capita, Diego kind of mentioned it earlier, but just both of y'all are joining a club that is, under construction, is working its way towards getting some victories. Was that inspiring to you, or did that matter at all when you were evaluating if you wanted to move here?
Can you just repeat just a little more?
Yes, just basically, does the fact that the club is not doing well, was that any kind of inspiration for coming here?
For him to
make the move, yes.
O fato de o time daqui não tá fazendo muito bem, não está assim muito bom, foi uma inspiração para você para vir para ajudar?
Sim, é muito normal. O time está se recompor aos poucos. Tem muitos jogadores que eu pude ver, jogaram jogadores muito novos. E por vezes é muito difícil os jogadores poderem adaptar-se ao país, às novas táticas, mas é o normal. O time vai ganhando a confiança e depois verem os resultados. Nós treinamos todos os dias, estou cá uma semana e vi que é um grupo com muita fome de vitória, é um grupo que cada cada treino dão o seu melhor e não dá para ver que é um grupo que gosta de perder, porque o grupo trabalha muito. Então, eu acho que as vitórias virão.
So he said that it's very common that, let's see, that the team, it's recuperating little by little. It's just slowly, it's a gradual thing. And at times, it's difficult to adapt. When you have new players, it's difficult to adapt. But that they train, he's been here for a week now, they train every day, and that they can see that they're improving daily, and then they have this hunger for victory.
Hola, pregunto para Diego. El equipo, bueno, está, digamos que sufriendo en defensa, sobre todo en estos primeros partidos. Tú eres un defensor central. ¿Cómo puedes aportar? ¿Qué piensas que puedes aportar para cambiar esa dinámica y que el equipo defienda mejor, que defensivamente aumente su nivel? Tú, como te ves dentro de ese esquema y lo que puedes traer para el equipo.
Eu acho que isso é do treinador, o treinador tem que ver, isso é dentro do campo que a gente faz, eu e meus companheiros, é trabalhar, cara, a gente, igual o Capita falou, a gente vem trabalhando muito e pode ter certeza que as vitórias virão.
Oh, the question was regarding the central defense. Is that correct? The defense.
Yeah, what can he bring to the team in order to improve the defense?
O que é que você pode trazer para o time para melhorar a defesa?
Eu posso trazer, igual a minha pessoa, eu posso ajudar a defesa em bolas aéreas, compactação das linhas. É igual eu falei, tudo no treino, o professor tem que ajustar isso comigo e com meus companheiros para a gente poder trazer as vitórias para o grupo e para o time.
He said it's always the way that they behave, everybody behaves. He's getting a lot of support from the coach and the team, and then he's working. It's all, it's a work in progress. They have to work a lot. And so that's basically it.